Now we'll transition and we'll put a recap on the Masters, which finished up on Sunday. Adam Scott gets the victory. And now joining us from the Golf Channel is Steve Sands. Steve, it's Zach Gelb and Haley Condon on WHIP. How are you?
Doing great, fellas. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. And, Steve, I just have to bring this up to you. I understand that you were a Pine Forest kid just like myself, and unfortunately you had to deal with my father as one of your counselors. That must have been one terrible experience.
Well, he put a beat down on us every once in a while, and that's okay. One of the coolest things about your father was he knew how to juggle. I don't know if he still knows how to juggle now that he's an old man in his mid-50s, but he could juggle knives, he could juggle fire, he could juggle apples, and he'd eat the apples while juggling. Other than that, it was a pretty terrible experience, but watching him juggle was always a cool thing.
Yeah, you just hope when he's juggling those apples that he doesn't get any spit on you if you're a spectator. Cause,
No. You had seeds and spit and apples flying all over you. But that was the fun part of it.
Well, I also have to ask you this because when I brought you on today and I tweeted this out, your appearance, and I know you're not that active on Twitter, but you do have one, Jamie Chadwin gets back to me and he says, oh, Steve's one of my best friends, and he goes, you're a great talk show host as well, but I'm just wondering, how's Jamie Chadwin's golf game? Because I know you always hang out with him.
Best friends? I've never heard of the guy. What are you talking about? You know what? I've never played golf with Jamie, but sadly, he's a busy guy. He's a big-time high school basketball coach. He's Mr. Philadelphia. He knows everybody. And his father, Chad's been up there in Abington Friends for 150 years. All he does is win. Those guys don't take time for little people like me to play golf. They just, hang around. They run Pine Forest, run the show, and then make sure everybody's happy, and then they claim that they're best friends with everybody. But they're really in their own cocoon out there on the main line. They don't really bother anybody who's not as big a stature as they are.
Steve Sands from the Golf Channel. He joins us. And, Steve, describe the scene out there in Augusta on Sunday between what happened with Scott and Cabrera, because that was just some fascinating golf.
I tell you what, Zach, it was incredible. I thought it was weird. It was kind of boring for about an hour and a half, 2 hours there. And then all of a sudden they got to like 11 or 12. The last, a couple groups got to the last, 7 or 8 holes. And the thing just blew up. It became so cool and so intense. The golf was really at a high level, Zach. That's what I thought was the coolest thing about it, was that someone went out and won the Masters. Nobody gave it away. I mean, Jason Day had a couple of hiccups coming in, but for Angel Cabrera, that's one of the great second shots in the history of the 18th hole to force a playoff. Just before him, Adam Scott, 2 good shots, and then making that long birdie attempt at the 72nd hole was phenomenal. And then in the playoff, they both played well in the playoff. Nobody threw up all over themselves or choked. I mean, Adam Scott and Angel Cabrera hit great shots into that second playoff hole in the 10th. Angel barely missed the putt. Adam made his, and he's a Masters champion. It was tremendous theater. I thought it was phenomenal.
And Scott struggled for a little bit of time to get that major victory, and he finally gets one on Sunday in the Masters at Augusta, getting that green jacket. What does this win mean for his career?
Oh, man, it's huge. I mean, he's a guy, Zach, that has been in the forefront of that horrible label of best player yet to win a major championship. He should have won the British Open last year. He bogeyed the last 4 holes to lose by 1 to Ernie Els. He should have basically won a Masters 2 years ago, but it was taken away from him, having no fault of his own because he played well enough. But Charles Schwartzel birdied the last 4 holes in 2011 to become a Masters champion, to take it away from Adam. Where any other year he would have been at least in a playoff, maybe even won the thing outright. So I think what this is going to do now is free him up and propel him to just incredible heights. And I think that, you could see Adam go on a terrific run here over the next, 8 to 10 years and being in contention in major championships for a long, long time.
Well, to me, what this win does is it gives him confidence, and he has the ability to make the big putt, make the big shot in a big stage like he did at Augusta on Sunday. But his caddy is Stevie Williams, the former caddy for Tiger Woods. How much do you think Stevie has helped him develop some of that confidence? Because you saw some big-time fist pumps and some emotion between the two of them the last few days.
Well, evidently at the last hole, it was getting dark out. It was about 7:40, and it was pretty dark out there by number 10, which is the green is way down low. So it was a little bit darker than it was there than it was on the 18th green, which is a much higher point on the golf course. And Adam said that he called Stevie in to read the putt. I mean, he has a lot of confidence in Stevie Williams. Stevie's done a lot of things in the game. I've seen a lot of people win major championships beside him in the game. And I think Stevie has done nothing but instill more confidence into an already confident kid, but he's instilled more confidence in him in the last couple of years, there's no question.
I do agree with you. Neither player lost the Masters. Scott just went out there and won it, and Cabrera put up a hell of an effort. But he did leave a few putts short, and they looked like they were going right in the jar, and they just didn't fall. What do you make out of those few putts that happened to Angel Cabrera down at the Masters?
You know, it was a weird day with the weather because it was raining. If you remember, Zach, it was raining towards the end of the day. It started to rain really hard. And there's no way that you could tell the speed of the greens based upon what you were doing when you were preparing and warming up for the Masters. And even the first, 5 or 6 holes, it wasn't raining yet. So the green speeds changed. So the reason that you saw putts being left short by Angel or anybody else is because the greens were slower than they expected them to be because it was raining at the time. So I'll give him a pass on that. I mean, Angel played beautiful golf and could very easily be sitting here as a 2-time Masters winner. But it was Adam Scott's day, and that's the beauty of sports, to see it all play out.
Steve Sands does a great job at the Golf Channel. He joins us right now on the hotline. Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Zach Gelb, Haley Condon here with you. And whenever you have the Masters or a big-time event, the #1 player that's looked at is Tiger Woods. He fell just a little bit short, but the big controversy with Tiger was that 2-stroke penalty. Do you think the Masters board got that call right, or should have they disqualified him?
Well, I think that the committee messed up in not asking Tiger before he signed his card on Friday to look at the video and see whether or not it was a bad drop. What ensued after that was just a crazy set of circumstances, and one of which was, should Tiger withdraw? He didn't have to, so he didn't. Can the committee disqualify him? They couldn't, because they had already deemed it to be a legal drop. And the third thing was, can we apply this ambiguous 2-shot penalty because the USGA changed the rules a year earlier, and that's what they were going to do, and it's a broad, vague rule, but they decided to implement it in this case. And I think everybody's okay with it for this reason, Zach. If they would have asked Tiger before he signed his card on Friday if it was an illegal drop, he would have looked at the video, he would have said it was an illegal drop, and he would have received a 2-shot penalty. So in the end, he received what he originally would have gotten, which is what the intent of the changed rule is. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. It's fine.
So I agree with you, actually, and I saw some people, they were calling for Tiger to DQ himself. I just thought that was a little bit ludicrous, but, hey, he did violate the rule, and I thought the 2-stroke penalty was appropriate. But let me just ask you this here real quick. You see Tiger, and I think he needs to win a major again coming off this sex scandal. How far away do you think he is from winning a major?
Well, he's real close. I mean, look, he wants it badly, Zach. He needs that next one to kind of get him off the schneid, because it's been 5 years since he won a major, the U.S. Open in 2008 at Torrey Pines in San Diego. But, he's right there. I mean, he wins regular tour events, and he puts himself in position at major championships. He just hasn't, knocked down that door yet. So, his next chance is in your backyard at Marion in Philadelphia. It should be a rocking time. It should be a great time to be in the city of brotherly love, and we can't wait to get there. And Tiger will again be one of the favorites at a famed, historic golf course. It should be a lot of fun.
The most compelling part about that golf course in Marion is they actually don't have flags. They have those wired basket. As a golfer, how does that play into effect with that game when you can't see which way the wind is blowing?
Well, I don't know. Do you think Tiger would have hit it into the basket as opposed to hitting the flagstick on Friday? I don't know. It'll be interesting. I never really thought about it wind-wise because the players, they look at the flag, but they also look at the treetops, and they look at, they look all around them. They look at TV towers which have flags on them, that kind of thing, because that's a true judge because the wind is above the trees. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be really cool looking. It's going to be fun to watch. But I don't know if the wind will be that much of a factor as far as the flag. I mean, I think it'd be fascinating if you see a ball land in there and what the ruling is. But, other than that, I just think it's such a cool place, Marion, and it's such a great sports town, Philadelphia, that what a great, great time and great place to hold America's national championship in golf. It's going to be fantastic.
Before we let you run, the other big story of the Masters was the 14-year-old sensation. What was that like seeing him compete?
Tian Long Wan, man, 14. What were you doing when you were 14, Zach? I'm sure it wasn't competing in the Masters.
No, I was doing a talk show actually, but
I was trying to get Nicky Newman to kiss me goodnight after his date. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's incredible that he made the cut. I think it's amazing considering how he plays. He barely gets the ball 250 yards. For instance, he played a practice round with Robert Garrigus. Robert Garrigus had 112 yards in on the first hole. He used a wedge. This kid had 243 in and he used a 3-wood. I mean, he's 131 yards longer, farther out. And he's using a 3-wood, whereas pros are hitting wedges. So for him to make the cut in his first ever Masters appearance at 14 years of age is remarkable. I mean, the kid should be hanging around, main court at PFC trying to, play with older kids in basketball. And he's 14 years old and he's competing at the Masters. It's an amazing, amazing thing.
What was your golf score at 14? Because mine was terrible.
I never played golf when I was 14. I grew up in D.C., and I never played golf in my life until I got to at least high school, maybe even college. I don't even remember the first time I played golf. I definitely never played golf when I was that age. It was, I spent my summers chasing girls at Pine Forest Camp, man. I never played
That's
golf.
right. Well, Steve.
And by the way, your father, Bob, I hate to tell you this, Zach, but your father, Bob, kind of, gave us tips. He knew what to do, so.
I wouldn't listen to anything in that department when it comes from my father's mouth. I just wouldn't do it, Steve.
I hate to break the news to you, but he was actually pretty good back then. But,
Well, Steve, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's talk to you again real soon.
All right, bud. Nice of you to have a Redskins fan on in Eagles country, by the way.
Yeah, well, I tell you this. If you come to Philadelphia and you wear a Redskins jersey, and I'm from New York, I'm not from Philadelphia, but the fans will not like you that much.
Believe me, I've been to the Vet, and I've been to the Link, and I've been to, what do they call it now, the Wells Fargo thing?
Yes.
I don't know what they call that thing. I've been to all of them, and I've worn Caps jerseys, Bullets jerseys, Redskins jerseys. I've done it all there in Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. Great sports town, great food, great people. Just don't like their sports teams.
We appreciate it, Steve.
All right, man. You guys be good. Take care.
Steve stands right there from the Golf Channel. What we'll do now is we'll take a quick break, and when we get back,